Hello, everyone. NegroVMX here, and it's been a while since I've talked to you guys one-on-one on the camera like this, or even before that without the camera. But yeah, it's time to talk about something, and you probably already have an idea of what I'm going to mention based on the title of the video and whatnot. But let's just talk about that. I normally don't do videos like this simply because I have so many other ways of talking directly to people, because I stream every day on Twitch and I have the Discord channel, so I can talk to everybody directly there. And it just seems to me that bringing out news in a YouTube setting is not the best way of going about things. But in this case, I decided it's time to actually do this. So, as you may have guessed from the title of this current video, I have a second channel. And it's actually interesting that I have had a second channel for quite some time. We're about a year into the second channel, and I've never once promoted it on here. And you might be thinking that's insane. If you have a channel with over 16,000 subscribers that has been around for a really long time, and you're making a new channel, why wouldn't you promote it on your main channel? And there were sort of a lot of reasons why I didn't do that. The first is that the scope of the channel is so completely removed from the scope of this channel. This has always been a gaming and entertainment channel, primarily gaming. I've done things like movie reviews and special features and whatnot, but I pretty much use it to do video game playthroughs, to occasionally do reviews and things like that, but pretty much it's fun and irreverent, and it's just sort of a certain vibe. It has changed multiple times. It used to be a lot more popular than it is now. YouTube has changed. I've changed. A lot has changed, and that's generally why, for the majority of my gaming content, I do gravitate more towards Twitch than YouTube, because it's just a lot better. I make a lot more money on Twitch than I make on YouTube. I have a lot more fun on Twitch than I have on YouTube, but I have kept the YouTube channel as a way of doing Let's Plays that I don't want to do live, and putting my Twitch VODs up and everything, and just occasionally putting up, just things that I think are funny or amusing, or just projects that I want to do. But there is one thing that I've never really gotten much into in this channel. Now, I gotta tell you something about myself that you may not be aware of unless you know me personally, or you're already aware of this second channel, or you're on the Discord server or whatever. But I actually am considered an expert on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings and The Silmarillion and several other books. As a matter of fact, do I have any? Oh, yeah, look. They're never far away. Here's the Silmarillion right here. So I have the Silmarillion right here. This is a book that I have to have on me at all times because I'm always referencing it. And what is this one? Oh, it's Fellowship of the Ring. So this is an old copy from the early 80s. Anyway, this isn't something that I talk about a lot. Well, I do talk about it a lot, but I haven't talked about it a lot on here, and I've generally kept that aspect of my life to be kind of segregated away from everything else, compartmentalized, if you will, until a little more than a year ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, I came across a video from, I believe it was from Wired, where they had a Tolkien scholar named Professor Corey Olsen, who was answering people's questions regarding Tolkien's works, what is called the Legendarium. And what was interesting to me was that this guy, that was literally his description, that he was a Tolkien scholar, and that I knew all the answers to the questions that he was answering. And I just thought to myself, I could do that, and it looks like a lot of fun. So I had the thoughts sort of mulling over in my head, and eventually I decided that the venue to do this would be a website called Quora. Now, Quora is sort of like, if you remember Yahoo Answers from back in the day, where people ask questions and then other people answer. It's a little bit like that, but it's better. It's just way better. It's a little bit more smart. Well, we'll say it's more smart. And I went on there, and there were a lot of Tolkien questions, and I just started answering them, and I got really, really into it. you know, like I said, I've always been like one of the biggest fans of J.R.R. Tolkien that you can imagine. I'm the kind of person that can tell you every character's name and all their backstory. And, you know, like if you ever want to watch the movies with me, I'm going to be, well, if it's your first time seeing it, I might be quiet, but I will point out every little thing, you know. That's the kind of person I am. That's the kind of person I've always been. And I never really talked about it much. You may have heard me make Tolkien references in videos and such. But anyway, I decided after a while that I wanted to expand the work that I do on Quora to YouTube, because I became partnered on Quora and I started making income from that. And then I thought, well, maybe we should have some sort of social media presence outside of this. And I wanted to create a new YouTube page. And the YouTube page is under my actual name, which is John Sierra Tolkien Scholar. And there's going to be a link to it in the description. Now, I'm not asking everybody to go rushing over and subscribe, because, you know, maybe you're not all that interested, but I wanted to make you aware that this channel exists and that I am the person running it, and that if you are interested, I urge you to go over there and check it out, because I do a lot of cool things. I don't just answer people's questions. I also do readings, and I actually did a little bit of gameplay for a Lord of the Rings video game from back on the Super NES. Not a very good game. Do I still have the cartridge sitting around here? I think I put it away. No, I don't have it with me. And analyzed it and everything, and I'm going to be doing reactions to adaptations and all sorts of things in the future. The content on there is not as rapid fire. It's generally one video a week, sometimes two. So it's a lot less content, but they are longer videos, and you know, we've been getting a great reaction. YouTube is very goal oriented now. It used to be that you would just make a channel, and then if you got noticed, they would offer you a partnership, or maybe you would go through a network. They had networks back in the day. That's really not so much a thing anymore. And then you would monetize your channel and everything. These days it's a little different. There are goals to hit, and I am very close to the first goal, which is 500 subscribers. So you think we're about a year in. 500 subscribers in a year does not sound really super impressive. However, there is a major caveat to that. Almost all of that growth has happened in the past 3 months. So basically, the channel is starting to blow up a little. I didn't talk about it here or do this video before because I wanted to see if I could make it from scratch in the YouTube algorithm without trying any sort of dirty tricks of bringing in people from like the outside, and you know, not trying to make a spin-off channel. Also, the vibe is very different. I don't curse. It's an all ages channel. It's all very intellectual and everything. We do have fun, and of course we do have fun, but it's really way more family friendly. So that's a little bit different, obviously, because, you know, I tend to have a potty mouth, so it's interesting to tone it down and sort of use other words and speak nicely and everything. So we keep everything pretty clean over there. So it's a very different vibe, and it's obviously a different subject. Not everybody that's into video games is into, like, say, the Lord of the Rings, or the Silmarillion, or the Children of Húrin, or Beren and Luthien, or, you know, knowing the difference between Sauron and Morgoth, and knowing the difference between Morgoth and Melkor. There's no difference. It's just a linguistic thing. Being able to speak Elvish, these sorts of things, you know. Now everybody's interested in that sort of things, but I figured after a year, and with the channel actually blowing up a little and becoming more successful, I think it's time to say, hey, let's invite some people over from the main channel. And if you're interested, we're over there. I generally put up videos on Wednesday nights for question and answer videos, and if I have something else, it might go out on like a weekend or something. But as you guys know, I am very, very, very busy. This is one of the things that has me very, very busy, not just the YouTube thing, but the writing thing. And I'm, you know, like I said, being a Tolkien expert has been something that's been in the background of my life for a very long time, but now I'm putting it in the foreground to the point where I am actually working with a few other people to try and actually publish a book. So that's like a major thing that's been happening, and we've been speaking, you know, about this for like a while and preparing writings and such. So that is another thing that's going on, that I might actually be publishing a book, not by myself, me and a bunch of other writers who are putting together papers and essays and such about Tolkien's work, and sort of compiling them into a book that you guys would actually be able to hopefully purchase one day. I've already oh, sorry about that. I have my phone linked to my computer, and it makes those noises, and I thought I had the system sounds mixed down, but I've rebooted since then, so let's just make that like a lot quieter. Okay, see, now it's not so bad. So I've already written, for example, 2 parts of what will eventually become this book, or my parts for the book, one of which is an examination of the actual origin of hobbits, where they came from, how they came to be, and the other is a paper about Tuor. If you're only slightly familiar with The Lord of the Rings, there's a major character called Elrond. He is an elf lord that lives in a place called Imladris, or Rivendell. And he had a grandfather named Tuor, and Tuor is, in my opinion, the most important character in the entire saga, and I wrote a very large dissertation on him and how everything that happened before Tuor flowed into him, and that everything that came after flowed from him, that he's sort of the linchpin of the entire story. This is the sort of thing that I can talk to you guys for hours about, and there is literally hours of content on my other channel. So, like I said, it's called John Sierra Tolkien Scholar. The link is in the description, and I'm also going to be linking to 2 other things. I'm going to be linking to my Discord, of course, because I always link to that, and I'm going to be linking to my Quora. So maybe you have a question that you need a Tolkien expert to answer. Maybe you have something that you're thinking of that you just wondered about. Like, hold on, let me bring up Quora right now. Here it is. And I will just give an example of a question that I got. Here's a question that came through last year. Why does Sauron become evil again after repenting for a while when Morgoth fell? What is his endgame? He was at the beginning of creation and is actually aware of the powers far above him. His endeavors would be for nothing when they step in. So we get questions like that, but we also get like silly questions, like what would happen if Sauron met Darth Vader, and sometimes I will answer silly questions like that. So it's not all very dry academic stuff. We do have fun. But maybe you had something that you were wondering about in your head, and you can go ahead and click that link and go over there and do that. Also, I'm going to be doing a podcast soon with 2 other Tolkien experts, and that's also going to be on my Tolkien Scholar channel. We are still in the planning stages of the podcast, but I want to let you know that I have 2 very big guys. I'm not going to name them just yet, but one of them actually worked as a consultant on the films, and the other has published over 20 books. So they are not anything to be sneezed at, and we've kind of become a tight-knit group of 3. So that's another thing that I want to do, that we're going to be doing a podcast. So there's a lot of things coming on this channel, and there's already a lot of content on there. So if you're at all interested, or if you know anyone who's interested, you could share the link and help me out. The first major goal of a new YouTube channel is to hit 500 subscribers, and I have been getting very close to that. As a matter of fact, hold on, I'll tell you right now exactly where we are with that. No, I need the dashboard. We are at 473, so we're really close. And just to say, like, 109 of those were in the last 28 days, according to my dashboard. So like I said, the growth has been very recent. I was sort of plugging away at it, as thinking of it as sort of an experiment, and say, well, we'll do this and see how it goes. And if it doesn't go, we'll just stop. But it's been going. So head over there. If you're at all interested, maybe ask me some questions. We could talk about any of the characters, or your favorite characters. I know, like I said, mine is Tuor. Also Fingolfin, he's up there. If I had to stick to just like the Lord of the Rings, it's Sam. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time with whatever else I come at you with, and hopefully to see you over at my second channel.